5 Stoic Rules to Emotionally Detach from Someone. Marcus Aurelius's Stoicism. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words from Marcus Aurelius hold a timeless truth. Our emotions often feel like they control us, especially when we're deeply connected to someone. But what happens when that connection fades, or worse, when you realize it was one-sided? How do you navigate the overwhelming weight of detaching from someone who once mattered so much? If you've ever asked yourself, how can I stop caring? Can I truly let go without losing a part of myself? You're not alone. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting down or becoming indifferent. It's about reclaiming your inner balance and finding clarity amid emotional storms. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life. In this video, we'll uncover 5 powerful Stoic rules to help you emotionally detach from someone, guided by the profound wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. These aren't abstract ideas. They're actionable steps that can reshape the way you think and feel, setting you free from emotional chains. Are you ready? Let's get started. Rule 1. Understand the impermanence of life. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom challenges us to confront one of life's hardest truths: impermanence. Relationships, connections, and even the most cherished bonds are not eternal. While this reality might seem harsh, it's also liberating. Accepting the transient nature of life and relationships allows us to live with clarity and purpose, unburdened by unrealistic expectations. Let's now explore the first Stoic rule, understanding the impermanence of life and how it can empower you to detach emotionally without losing yourself. Understanding the impermanence of life is one of the most transformative lessons Stoicism offers, and Marcus Aurelius himself teaches us that everything in life is fleeting. Loss is nothing else but change, he wrote in Meditations, emphasizing that change is an inevitable part of nature. Yet for many of us, the concept of impermanence can be difficult to accept, especially in the context of relationships. We anchor our emotions, identities, and expectations to the people we love, expecting them to remain constants in our lives. But relationships, like seasons, evolve and often fade. This truth, though painful, can become a source of strength when approached with a Stoic mindset. Instead of clinging to people or moments, consider viewing them as opportunities for growth and connection in the present. Whether it's the slow drifting apart of a longtime friend, the end of a romantic relationship, or the inevitable loss of loved ones, impermanence doesn't diminish the value of those connections. It magnifies it. Relating this principle to modern life, think about how often we struggle to hold on to relationships that no longer serve us. You may find yourself chasing someone's affection or constantly overanalyzing why someone has pulled away. This emotional labor drains your energy and keeps you trapped in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. The Stoic approach reminds us that letting go doesn't mean you care less. It means you respect the natural course of life. For instance, in the age of constant connectivity, social media amplifies the illusion of permanence, making it harder to accept when relationships fade. But consider this: every interaction you have, no matter how brief, shapes you in some way. Instead of mourning what is lost, focus on the lessons and experiences that remain. Marcus Aurelius invites us to reflect. Time is like a river made up of events which happen, and its current is strong. No sooner does something appear than it is swept past, and another takes its place. This metaphor illustrates how life constantly flows forward, carrying moments and people in and out of our lives. Attempting to cling to the past is like trying to hold back a river, futile and exhausting. Instead, the Stoic perspective encourages you to embrace the present moment fully. When you shift your mindset in this way, you'll notice that relationships take on a new depth, free from the burden of unrealistic expectations. In practice, accepting impermanence allows you to cherish what you have while you have it. It helps you focus on the value of each interaction instead of worrying about its duration. Think about the relationships in your life right now. Are you investing your energy in appreciating their presence, or are you consumed by the fear of losing them? When you learn to let go of this fear, you free yourself to engage more deeply and authentically with others. For example, a Stoic approach to friendships and love means appreciating someone for who they are today, without demanding they remain the same tomorrow. Moreover, this principle applies not only to personal relationships, but also to professional and social connections. Perhaps you've experienced the end of a partnership or a career shift that left you feeling unmoored. While it's natural to grieve these changes, holding on to resentment or regret only prolongs your suffering. Instead, reflect on what that phase taught you and how it prepared you for the next chapter. As Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Understanding impermanence also builds emotional resilience, enabling you to face future changes with greater composure. Instead of fearing the end of a relationship or phase, you'll begin to see it as a necessary step in life's unfolding narrative. This mindset doesn't make loss painless, but it allows you to process it with acceptance rather than resistance. For example, when a close friend moved away, I initially struggled with feelings of abandonment and loss. But by embracing the Stoic principle of impermanence, I realized that our connection had enriched my life during its time and that the distance didn't negate its value. This shift in perspective helped me maintain gratitude for the relationship instead of fixating on its absence. Ultimately, embracing impermanence is not about detachment in the sense of indifference. It's about detaching from the illusion of control and permanence. When you accept that change is inevitable, you stop fighting against it and instead learn to flow with it. This mindset empowers you to face the ebb and flow of life with grace, knowing that every ending makes space for a new beginning. In the words of Epictetus, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." This timeless wisdom teaches us that peace comes not from controlling life, but from aligning our perspective with reality. As you navigate your relationships and life's inevitable changes, remember this: impermanence is not your enemy, it's your teacher. By embracing it, you gain the strength to cherish what is, let go of what was, and welcome what will be. Whether you're facing the loss of a relationship, a career change, or any form of transition, trust in the Stoic principle that change is the foundation of growth. Let Marcus Aurelius's wisdom guide you. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power. The time to embrace impermanence is now, and by doing so you'll find clarity, strength, and freedom to live with intention and peace. Rule 2. Master your emotions through rational thought. How often do we feel overwhelmed by sadness, anger, or anxiety, believing that these emotions are inevitable forces we must endure? Stoicism challenges this belief by teaching us that mastering our emotions through rational thought is not only possible, but essential for emotional freedom. When someone disappoints you, ignores you, or acts in a way that stirs a storm of emotions, the initial response is to react instinctively, letting your feelings dictate your actions. But what if you paused, questioned your emotional response, and considered the facts instead? This practice, grounded in Stoic wisdom, offers a pathway to clarity and control that can transform how you navigate relationships and challenges in life. Let's take a common scenario. You send a heartfelt message to someone important to you, perhaps a friend, partner, or family member. Hours pass, and there's no reply. How do you feel? Likely, your mind begins to race with assumptions. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Do they even care about me? The emotional turbulence builds, and before long, you've convinced yourself of the worst. But here's the question. Are these emotions based on reality or speculation? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. The delay in their response isn't the cause of your emotional turmoil. your interpretation of their silence is. By shifting your focus to rational thought, you can break the cycle of overthinking. What are the facts? They haven't replied. That's it. Everything beyond this is a narrative you've created. Reframing your perspective allows you to respond calmly and rationally, rather than being swept away by unnecessary emotional waves. In modern life, where we're bombarded by notifications and instant communication, this lesson becomes even more critical. How many arguments, misunderstandings, or broken relationships stem from assumptions and unchecked emotions? Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to reflect. What story am I telling myself about this situation? Is it true? This small act of questioning your thoughts creates a gap between stimulus and response, giving you the space to choose how you react. One of the greatest strengths of Stoicism lies in this principle, that your emotions are not external forces but are within your power to understand and manage. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about analyzing it, questioning it, and deciding whether it serves you. I remember a time when I felt deeply hurt by a friend's lack of response during a difficult moment in my life. My initial reaction was anger, followed by disappointment and self-pity. But when I took a step back, I realized I was reacting not to their actions but to my own expectations of how they should behave. The Stoic principle of examining my emotions helped me see that my hurt stemmed from a belief that they owed me their attention at that moment. This realization didn't erase the pain, but it shifted my perspective. Instead of holding on to resentment, I chose to address the situation calmly, allowing space for understanding rather than conflict. This shift in mindset brought peace, not only to that relationship, but also to my broader interactions with others. You might ask yourself, how often do I let my emotions control my actions? When I feel angry or hurt, do I pause to consider whether my response aligns with the reality of the situation? Marcus Aurelius encourages us to take ownership of our minds. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This timeless advice invites you to actively curate your thoughts, choosing those that foster calm and rejecting those that fuel turmoil. Modern psychology echoes this sentiment, emphasizing that emotions are driven by our perceptions and beliefs. When you feel slighted or misunderstood, ask yourself, what evidence do I have for this belief? Is my response proportional to the situation? Mastering your emotions doesn't mean you become indifferent or unfeeling. On the contrary, it allows you to engage with others from a place of strength and clarity. In a world where emotions often run high, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or even social media, this skill becomes invaluable. Consider how many conflicts could be avoided if we approach situations with a rational mindset instead of reacting emotionally. Instead of escalating tensions, you can become a calming presence, leading by example and fostering understanding. The Stoics teach that we are responsible for our own minds, and through this responsibility, we gain freedom from unnecessary suffering. Ultimately, this rule isn't just about managing emotions, it's about reclaiming your agency in every situation. When you recognize that you have the power to shape your emotional landscape, you begin to navigate life with greater ease and resilience. This practice doesn't come naturally. It requires effort and reflection. But with time, you'll find that choosing rational thought over emotional reactivity becomes second nature. So, the next time you feel an emotional storm brewing, pause and ask yourself, what am I reacting to? Is my interpretation accurate? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and goals? By mastering your emotions through rational thought, you unlock the strength to face life's challenges with grace and wisdom, embodying the Stoic ideal of a life lived with purpose and balance. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Do not anticipate trouble or worry about what may never happen. Keep in the sunlight, the philosopher Benjamin Franklin once said. And while it contrasts with the Stoic principle of negative visualization, it highlights the delicate balance between preparation and optimism. Negative visualization, as taught by the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, is not about dwelling on worst-case scenarios or succumbing to despair. Instead, it's a tool to train your mind to face life's uncertainties with strength, acceptance, and clarity. When you reflect on what could go wrong, you don't invite failure or loss. You prepare yourself emotionally to handle whatever comes with resilience and gratitude. But what does this practice mean for you? And how can it change the way you live, love, and respond to challenges? Let's begin by exploring the heart of this practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This isn't a call to morbid thoughts, but a reminder of life's impermanence and the importance of living with purpose. Imagine this. You have a close friend or family member whose presence is a source of daily comfort. Have you ever considered, even briefly, that one day they may not be there? While this thought may feel unsettling, it also sharpens your appreciation for the time you share now. By practicing negative visualization, you're not wishing for loss, but preparing your heart to value what you have while you have it. Doesn't this shift in perspective make each conversation, hug, or shared moment feel infinitely more precious? This practice also applies to your goals and ambitions. Have you ever hesitated to pursue something because you feared failing? What if, instead of avoiding that fear, you allowed yourself to confront it? Epictetus advised, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." In the same way, fearing failure often stops us from trying, but when you visualize the worst-case scenario, you demystify it. What's the worst that could happen if you fail a test, miss a promotion, or end a relationship? When you think it through, you often realize that the consequences are manageable. Confronting this fear head-on allows you to focus on what you can control, your effort, your preparation, and your attitude, while letting go of the anxiety over outcomes you can't dictate. How much more could you achieve if you stopped letting fear hold you back? Let's bring this idea into the context of relationships. Negative visualization can help you navigate the complexities of love and connection. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the thought of losing someone? Whether it's a romantic partner, a best friend, or even a cherished pet, this fear can cloud your ability to enjoy the present. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." When you practice imagining life without someone, you're not hardening your heart, you're softening it. You're teaching yourself to love them fully now, with no illusions of permanence. Think about how many arguments, resentments, or trivial annoyances would fade away if you lived with the awareness that every moment together is a gift. Could this perspective transform the way you approach your relationships? In modern life, negative visualization offers a powerful antidote to entitlement and dissatisfaction. Have you ever found yourself taking your health, career, or home for granted? It's easy to focus on what's missing or what could be better, but what if you pause to imagine losing what you already have? For example, if you're frustrated with your job, take a moment to consider what life might be like without the stability it provides. Or, if you're dissatisfied with your home, think about how it protects and shelters you daily. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." This practice shifts your mindset from lack to gratitude, helping you find peace and contentment in the present. Negative visualization is not just about preparing for loss, but also about strengthening your resilience. When you repeatedly train your mind to face difficult scenarios, you build a mental toughness that serves you in moments of actual hardship. For instance, if you rehearse the idea of losing a significant opportunity, you're better equipped to handle disappointment when things don't go as planned. Instead of being caught off guard by adversity, you meet it with the calm confidence of someone who has already imagined and accepted the possibility. This resilience doesn't make challenges disappear, but it gives you the emotional tools to navigate them. Can you see how this mindset might help you in both your personal and professional life? Ultimately, Negative visualization teaches you to balance appreciation with acceptance. It helps you stop clinging to the illusion of control and embrace life as it is, unpredictable, fragile, and beautifully fleeting. When you learn to let go of the need for permanence, you free yourself to live with greater intention and clarity. As you practice this Stoic principle, you may find that you worry less, love more deeply, and approach your goals with a fearless determination. So, the next time you're faced with fear, uncertainty, or doubt, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And how would I handle it? By facing these questions with honesty and courage, you transform fear into strength and uncertainty into gratitude. Negative visualization is not about becoming indifferent to life's joys, but about cherishing them more fully. By acknowledging the impermanence of all things, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of life, finding peace in the present and resilience for the future. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Through this practice, what once felt like a source of fear becomes a source of wisdom and strength, allowing you to live with greater clarity and purpose. Isn't that the kind of life we all strive for? Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to you for being part of this incredible community. Your support and engagement mean the world to us. If today's content resonated with you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether it's your personal insights, a story, or simply your impressions, your voice adds so much value to this journey we're on together. If you're new here, just drop a comment saying, "I am a newbie." And if you've been with us for a while, let us know with "I am Stoic." These small interactions might seem simple, but they are a great source of inspiration and motivation for our team to keep creating meaningful content for you. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. How often do we find ourselves spiraling into frustration, disappointment, or anxiety because we're trying to influence things beyond our grasp? We stress over how someone feels about us, agonize over outcomes that we have no way of changing, or exhaust ourselves trying to meet expectations that were never ours to begin with. Stoicism teaches us that the key to emotional detachment and inner peace is to focus solely on what lies within our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, while letting go of the things we cannot dictate. But what does this actually look like in practice? And how can embracing this principle help you navigate relationships, challenges, and setbacks with greater clarity and strength? Let's start by breaking this idea down. Marcus Aurelius tells us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This wisdom is profound because it reminds us that we are the architects of our emotional state. When we allow ourselves to be consumed by the behavior of others or the uncertainties of the future, we hand over the keys to our inner peace. For instance, consider a time when someone you cared about was distant or unresponsive. Did you find yourself overanalyzing every interaction, replaying conversations, or questioning your worth? While it's natural to feel hurt in these moments, the Stoics encourage us to ask, what part of this situation is within my control? You can't control how others act, but you can control how you interpret their actions and how you choose to respond. By shifting your focus inward, you regain the power to decide what you will and won't allow to disturb your peace. This principle is especially relevant in modern life, where social media and constant connectivity amplify our tendency to compare, worry, and seek validation. Have you ever felt inadequate because of someone else's curated online life or measured your success against an impossible standard? Stoicism offers a liberating perspective. Those external factors are irrelevant. Instead, focus on your own values, effort, and growth. Epictetus reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The world will continue to throw challenges your way, and people will behave in ways that you cannot predict or control. What truly matters is how you choose to respond. If someone disrespects you, you can't force them to change, but you can decide whether to address the situation calmly or to walk away entirely. By focusing on your response, you reclaim your power and avoid being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Let's take a deeper look at how this applies to relationships. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were constantly chasing someone's approval or affection? Maybe you bent over backward to prove your worth to a partner, friend, or colleague, only to feel unappreciated or overlooked. The Stoic response to this dynamic is clear. Stop placing your emotional well-being in the hands of others. Marcus Aurelius advises, be content with what you are and wish not for what you are not. Instead of trying to control how someone else feels about you, focus on being the best version of yourself. Ask yourself, am I acting in alignment with my values? Am I respecting my own boundaries? When you shift your attention from external validation to internal integrity, you not only free yourself from unnecessary stress, but also cultivate a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on others. This mindset also applies to our goals and ambitions. How often do we set ourselves up for frustration by fixating on outcomes we can't guarantee? Whether it's landing a promotion, winning someone's approval, or achieving a specific milestone, focusing solely on results can leave you feeling powerless. Instead, the Stoics teach us to focus on the process, what you can do here and now to move closer to your goal. Consider this. If you're preparing for an important project, you can't control how others will react to your work, but you can control the effort and dedication you put into it. By directing your energy toward the actions within your control, you eliminate the anxiety that comes from worrying about factors you can't influence. As Seneca wisely observed, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. In other words, focusing on what you can do, rather than what you can get, creates a sense of fulfillment and purpose. But what about setbacks and failures? How do we remain grounded when life doesn't go as planned? The Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control becomes even more critical in these moments. When faced with disappointment, ask yourself, what is still within my power? What can I learn from this? Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, redirect your attention to how you can adapt and move forward. This approach not only reduces suffering, but also helps you build resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable, but your response to them is always within your control. Marcus Aurelius captures this beautifully. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more self-reliant. Ultimately, focusing on what you can control isn't about ignoring the complexities of life or detaching from others entirely. It's about setting yourself free from the burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. By embracing this mindset, you allow yourself to engage with life more fully and authentically. You stop wasting energy on things that are beyond your reach, and instead invest that energy into what truly matters: your own growth, integrity, and peace of mind. So the next time you find yourself frustrated, anxious, or caught in a web of overthinking, pause and ask, what part of this is within my control? By answering that question honestly and acting accordingly, you'll discover a sense of freedom and strength that no external circumstance can take away. Isn't that the kind of clarity and power we all seek in our lives? Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture is an invitation to see life through a wider lens, to rise above the emotional entanglements of the moment and connect with a sense of purpose and clarity. In times of stress, disappointment, or heartbreak, how often do you find yourself consumed by the immediate problem, unable to see beyond it? You replay events in your mind, asking questions like, why did this happen to me? Or, how will I ever move forward? Stoicism challenges us to break free from this narrow focus and instead consider the grander context of our lives. This practice doesn't dismiss your struggles but allows you to frame them in a way that empowers you rather than overwhelms you. Have you ever asked yourself, will this issue matter 5 years from now? Or, what lesson is this situation teaching me? Reflecting on the bigger picture is about grounding yourself in the idea that life is a series of interconnected experiences, each with its own purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them. This understanding encourages us to embrace change as an inevitable and necessary part of growth. Consider a moment in your own life when you faced a challenge that felt insurmountable, a breakup, a career setback, or a personal failure. At the time, the pain may have felt all-consuming, but as time passed, you likely gained new insights, found opportunities you hadn't seen before, and grew stronger because of that experience. When you reflect on that journey, doesn't it seem as though the difficulty you faced was a stepping stone to something greater? This is the essence of reflecting on the bigger picture, recognizing that the obstacles you face are not the end, but part of a larger, unfolding story. In modern life, where we're constantly bombarded with information and distractions, it's easy to lose sight of this broader perspective. Social media, for example, often magnifies trivial concerns and creates the illusion that everyone else's life is perfect while you're struggling. But when you step back, you realize that everyone faces their own battles, and the snapshots you see online are just that, snapshots. Marcus Aurelius said, "You will meet with unkind, deceitful, arrogant, and unsociable people. Remember this, however, nothing is strange or unexpected." Life, relationships, and even our own emotions are filled with imperfection, and by acknowledging this, you free yourself from the trap of unrealistic expectations. When someone disrespects or disappoints you, ask yourself, is this event truly as significant as it feels right now? What can I learn from this person or situation? By doing so, you not only regain your emotional balance but also deepen your understanding of yourself and others. A good way to connect with the bigger picture is through a simple but profound question: what truly matters to me? Let's say you're caught up in an argument with a friend or partner, and emotions are running high. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to focus on being right or proving a point. But when you pause and reflect, you might realize that maintaining the relationship is far more important than winning the argument. Reflecting on the bigger picture helps you prioritize what truly adds value to your life, allowing you to let go of petty grievances and focus on what matters most. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or allowing others to walk all over you. It means choosing battles wisely and aligning your actions with your long-term goals and values. How might your relationships change if you approach them with this mindset? Another way to practice this rule is to reflect on the scale of time and the vastness of the universe. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the insignificance of human concerns in the grand scheme of things, not to diminish their importance but to remind us of their transience. Look at the past, its infinite void, and at the future, another boundless void. Only in the present is there anything. When you consider the briefness of your life compared to the vastness of time, it puts your worries into perspective. That missed promotion, awkward conversation, or temporary setback becomes less significant when viewed against the backdrop of eternity. This isn't a call to nihilism, but an encouragement to live with greater intention. If you knew your time was limited, how would you spend it? Would you waste it on grudges, fears, or superficial pursuits? Or would you invest it in meaningful connections and personal growth? Reflecting on the bigger picture also fosters resilience. When you understand that every difficulty you face is part of a larger narrative, it becomes easier to endure and even find meaning in the struggle. Think of a tree weathering a storm. Its branches may bend and some may break, but the storm strengthens its roots, allowing it to grow taller and sturdier. In the same way, your challenges, though painful, are shaping you into a stronger, wiser person. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." When you see your struggles as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles, you transform them into tools for building a better future. At its core, reflecting on the bigger picture is about finding balance. It's about stepping out of the chaos of the moment and seeing your life as a whole. It's about realizing that setbacks are temporary, growth is continuous, and the only constant is change. By adopting this perspective, you empower yourself to move forward with clarity and purpose. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by a problem, ask yourself, is this truly the end, or is it part of something greater? By reflecting on the bigger picture, you can navigate life's challenges with grace and emerge stronger on the other side. After all, isn't the ability to find meaning in the midst of struggle one of the greatest strengths we can cultivate? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This statement encourages us to focus not on the uncontrollable events around us, but on how we interpret and respond to them. When something goes wrong, whether it's a broken relationship, a missed opportunity, or a personal failure, our natural reaction is often to dwell on the problem, replaying it in our minds and magnifying its impact. But the Stoics challenge us to ask, is this as significant as it seems, or am I allowing my emotions to distort my perspective? By stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, we can transform moments of despair into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Think about the challenges you've faced in your life, moments of heartbreak, rejection, or failure. At the time, these experiences may have felt overwhelming, even insurmountable. Yet, as the years passed, you likely gained a new perspective on those events, seeing how they shaped your character, taught you valuable lessons, or led to opportunities you couldn't have imagined. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, observe constantly that all things take place by change. Nature loves nothing so much as to change existing things and make new ones like them. This understanding can be profoundly comforting when you're in the midst of a difficult situation. Instead of resisting change, embrace it as an essential part of life's natural rhythm, knowing that every ending makes way for a new beginning. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to lose sight of this truth. Social media and the constant flood of information often keep us fixated on the superficial, amplifying trivial concerns and creating a distorted sense of reality. How often do you find yourself comparing your life to the carefully curated lives of others? Do you feel a sense of inadequacy or frustration, believing you're falling behind? Reflecting on the bigger picture allows you to break free from these self-imposed traps. Marcus Aurelius advises, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. In other words, the struggles we perceive are often a result of our own thinking. By shifting your focus from comparison to gratitude, you can begin to appreciate your unique journey and the experiences that make you who you are. This principle also applies to relationships, which are often the source of our deepest joys and greatest frustrations. Have you ever found yourself stuck in an argument or a cycle of resentment, unable to see a way forward? In these moments, reflecting on the bigger picture can help you gain perspective and prioritize what truly matters. Ask yourself, will this disagreement matter a year from now? Is being right more important than preserving the connection? When you approach conflicts with this mindset, you're more likely to find solutions that align with your values and strengthen your relationships. As Seneca wisely said, it is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. Sometimes, stepping back and choosing not to engage in petty disputes is the most powerful action you can take. The bigger picture also offers clarity when it comes to our personal goals and ambitions. How often do we tie our happiness to specific outcomes, only to feel crushed when things don't go as planned? Whether it's a promotion that didn't come through, a project that fell short of expectations, or a dream that seems out of reach, these moments can feel like the end of the road. But the Stoics teach us to view setbacks not as failures, but as stepping stones. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Obstacles are not barriers, but opportunities to adapt, learn, and grow. When you face a challenge, Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this experience to become better? One of the most powerful tools for reflecting on the bigger picture is to consider the scale of time. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the fleeting nature of human life, encouraging us to see our problems in the context of eternity. Look at the past, its infinite void, and at the future, another boundless void. Only in the present is there anything. This perspective reminds us that many of the things we stress about are temporary and, in the grand scheme, insignificant. While this might sound humbling, it's also liberating. If life is short and time is precious, why waste it on worry, regret, or anger? Instead, focus on what you can do today to create meaning and joy in your life. This idea of impermanence can also help us cultivate gratitude. When you reflect on the bigger picture, you realize how much you have to be thankful for. The relationships, opportunities, and experiences that enrich your life. Have you ever taken a moment to think about what your life would be like without them? By acknowledging their impermanence, you learn to cherish them more deeply. Seneca captures this beautifully. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Practicing gratitude in this way not only brings peace, but also strengthens your ability to weather life's inevitable changes. Ultimately, reflecting on the bigger picture is about finding balance. It's about recognizing that while your struggles are real, they are not the entirety of your story. It's about stepping out of the chaos of the moment and seeing your life as a whole, a journey filled with both challenges and triumphs, failures and growth. So the next time you find yourself caught in a storm of emotions, pause and ask, is this truly as significant as it feels? What can I learn from this, and how can I move forward? By embracing this perspective, you not only gain clarity and resilience, but also discover a deeper sense of purpose and peace. Isn't that the kind of strength we all strive to cultivate? The strength to not just endure life's challenges, but to rise above them and thrive. Life is a constant flow of change, and as we've explored today through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophy, embracing this reality can be your greatest source of strength. Whether it's understanding the impermanence of relationships, mastering your emotions through rational thought, practicing the powerful art of negative visualization, focusing on what is truly within your control, or reflecting on the bigger picture, each of these Stoic rules offers you a path to emotional clarity and resilience. These principles aren't about becoming detached or indifferent. They're about finding peace in a world that's always shifting and reclaiming your inner balance no matter what life throws your way. Think back to the moments in your life when you faced disappointment or heartbreak. Were you consumed by the immediate pain, or did you step back and see how those moments became turning points for your growth? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Every challenge you face is part of a greater journey, an opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. By choosing to live with intention, focusing on what you can control, and appreciating the present, you can unlock a sense of purpose and clarity that no external circumstances can take away. As you move forward, remember that life's impermanence is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The relationships and experiences you cherish are made more meaningful because they are fleeting. By letting go of unrealistic expectations and accepting life as it is, you open the door to living more authentically and fully. As Epictetus advises, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. These timeless words remind us that true peace comes not from controlling life, but from aligning our perspective with reality. If today's video resonated with you and gave you tools to navigate life's emotional challenges, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who could benefit from these Stoic insights. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We're dedicated to helping you live a life of strength, wisdom, and purpose, guided by the enduring principles of Stoicism. Thank you for spending this time with us. And remember, the power to live with peace and resilience is already within you. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay stoic. We'll see you in the next video. 10 simple strategies to detox your mind and stop overthinking. Stoicism. The mind that is anxious about future events is miserable. Seneca. Have you ever felt your mind racing, cluttered with endless thoughts and worries? Today, overthinking has become a common struggle, draining our energy and inner peace. But here's a secret the Stoics knew well. Not every thought deserves your attention. In fact, learning to let go is key to a calm, clear mind. In this video, we'll explore 10 simple Stoic strategies to detox your mind and escape the cycle of overthinking. Less truly is more. Mastering these strategies can help you find that rare treasure, inner peace. If you're ready to break free from mental clutter, join me on Stoic in Your Life as we walk through practical steps to clear your mind. Remember, sometimes all it takes is learning to let go. 1. The art of letting go. Look, don't fool yourself. The art of letting go is a skill most of us never fully master, yet it holds the key to a mind free from endless overthinking. Consider this. How often have you found yourself spiraling into thoughts of, what if? Or, I should have done that differently? Trapped in a mental loop that drains your focus and happiness? We hold tightly to these thoughts as if they define our lives, forgetting that most of what troubles us lies outside our control. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus famously taught that there are only two things, what we can control and what we cannot. Yet we expend most of our energy on the latter, exhausting ourselves by attempting to grasp what is simply out of reach. So, let's embrace a practical approach to freeing our minds, starting with the realization that letting go is not only freeing, but essential to a peaceful life. The irony of overthinking is that the more we attempt to control every detail of life, the clearer it becomes just how little we actually control. It's as if we're trying to catch the wind with our hands. This habit of mental clinging only burdens us with worry and stress, creating a barrier to true peace. The Stoics would call this a waste of vital energy. How often do we find ourselves anticipating problems, creating scenarios in our minds that may never come to pass? This only distracts us from the present, the one place where life actually unfolds. Embracing a mindset of calm acceptance is key. Life is unpredictable, much like an unscheduled guest who overstays their welcome. Instead of resisting the unknown, embrace it as part of the journey. Seneca wisely observed, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," and it's true. When we make peace with life's uncertainties, our minds gain a freedom that no amount of control could offer. Imagine you're wearing glasses that only allow you to focus on what truly matters. Every time a disruptive or meaningless thought arises, ask yourself, is this important? Can I do something about it? If the answer is no, let it go. By discarding the mental clutter, the unresolved regrets and fears, you clear space for a more purposeful life. Picture it like cleaning out a crowded room, removing what's broken or unnecessary so that only the valuable remains. This concept is at the heart of what Stoics refer to as mental clarity. Clearing out unproductive thoughts is not a loss, but a gain, giving you room for genuine fulfillment and peace. Another key point in controlling overthinking is to understand that your mind can be like an unleashed dog, chasing after every stick you throw. The solution is simple. Stop throwing sticks. Our minds are prone to wander, endlessly reliving past mistakes or projecting worst-case scenarios into the future. But by continuously bringing your attention back to the present, you begin training your mind to stay grounded. This practice, often referred to as mindfulness, is about tuning into the moment and observing thoughts as they come without attaching to them. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions, than your own soul." In other words, the practice of returning to the present is about finding that peace within, not in shutting out the world, but in no longer being consumed by it. Letting go of the need for everyone's approval is yet another essential practice. Trying to please everyone is like trying to catch water with open hands. You end up exhausted, frustrated, and ultimately empty-handed. You may feel pressure to gain validation from others or to be universally liked, but doing so only drains you. Recognizing that others' opinions are beyond your control is a powerful way to focus your energy on what truly matters to you. The Stoics encourage us not to abandon care or kindness, but to remember that approval from others should never dictate our peace of mind. Prioritize your own values and well-being, understanding that letting go of others' judgments allows you to live with integrity and self-respect. Lastly, we come to the Stoic essence of freedom. Real freedom is not the power to control external events, but the power to control how we respond to them. Letting go of the need to control every thought and scenario paradoxically results in the very clarity we've been seeking. So, when life asks you to release your grip on certain aspects, let go with intention and grace. Seneca once remarked, "He who is brave is free." To be brave in letting go is to step into freedom, unburdened by what is beyond our influence. Let go, not as an act of surrender, but as a conscious choice to focus on what you can shape, your own perspective and response to life. Remember, my friend, learning to let go is learning to live. When you release the thoughts that weigh you down, you make room for thoughts that lift you up, guiding you to a life of peace and purpose. 2. A minute of silence. Have you ever felt that in trying to solve your problems, you're only making things worse, as if you're adding fuel to a fire rather than putting it out? We tend to think that if we just keep thinking about an issue, keep turning it over in our minds from every angle, we'll somehow reach a solution. But in reality, that endless loop often leads to nothing but mental exhaustion. What if I told you that sometimes the wisest course of action isn't to keep pushing forward but to stop and be still? The ancient Stoics knew this, practicing something they called contemplation, a deliberate pause to detach from the chaos of thought and simply observe. This moment of silence is more than a break. It's a powerful mental detox that can be more effective than any self-help technique. In our fast-paced world, where busyness is often equated with productivity, we've forgotten how to pause and breathe consciously. And no, I'm not talking about the biological process we do unconsciously. I'm talking about intentionally creating moments where you're fully present, allowing yourself to just be. There's a fear in stillness, isn't there? Society has taught us that being busy means being productive, that solving problems constantly is the only way to be effective. But here's where the real error lies. Productivity isn't about how much you do, but about the quality of what you do. Sometimes the very thing we need is not to think more, but to simply stop. Imagine a moment where you put yourself in airplane mode, much like your phone. Notifications continue to arrive, but you decide when you're ready to reconnect. This is the magic of a mindful pause, a technique for resetting your mind, and it's something the Stoics valued deeply. Think of it like clearing static on a television screen. Until you step back, the interference will only intensify. This intentional pause isn't just avoidance. It's allowing your mind the space it needs to clear itself, letting meaningful thoughts and solutions rise to the surface on their own. If your mind feels like a jumble of unprocessed worries constantly spiraling, take just 1 minute to stop. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let your thoughts pass by, like cars on a highway. There's no need to grab hold of them or analyze them, just observe. This technique can be surprisingly powerful, akin to switching off the television during a noisy broadcast. When you avoid mentally examining every single thought, you give your mind a chance to naturally settle, like allowing a stirred-up pond to become clear once the sediments sink. Next time your mind feels clouded, try this 1-minute pause and watch as clarity quietly returns. A key mistake many of us make is that we treat every single thought as if it's vitally important, endlessly investigating and scrutinizing it like a detective searching for clues. But consider this. Your mind is like a fogged-up window. The more you rub at it to try to see clearly, the more you're likely to smudge and obscure it. In such moments, the best action may be no action at all. Give the thoughts time to settle, and clarity will naturally emerge. This quiet patience often holds answers far more effectively than constant mental prodding. It reminds us of the wisdom of allowing the mind to rest and find clarity in its own time rather than forcing solutions into existence. Think back to when you were a child and experienced boredom. Those quiet moments were often among the most creative times of your life. I'm not saying you need to seek boredom, but there's value in allowing yourself moments of doing absolutely nothing. Surprisingly, these small spaces of silence are fertile grounds for insight, often sparking creativity when we least expect it. Dedicate just 5 minutes a day to total silence. No phone, no music, no distractions. Simply sit with yourself and let the quiet work its magic. You don't need to meditate or aspire to some state of perfect calm. Just give yourself permission to be silent and see what unfolds. There's something extraordinary you can learn in these few moments of intentional silence. Our issue often isn't that we think too much, but that we don't know when to stop. Practicing mindful pauses is like letting your mind take a deep breath, much like letting a soup simmer so the flavors can blend beautifully. Give yourself the grace to realize that you don't need all the answers right now. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is pause, letting things settle until you can look at them with fresh eyes. A clear mind isn't one that's free from thoughts. It's one that knows when to empty itself, allowing space for true wisdom to appear. As Paulo Coelho once said, sometimes the solution is not in finding answers, but in making space for them to arrive. Take this moment to reflect. Could creating a daily habit of silence be the very detox your mind has been needing? In giving yourself space, you'll discover that sometimes the answers were there all along, just waiting to be noticed. 3. Detoxify your mind with Stoic philosophy. How many times have you caught yourself trapped in an endless cycle of overthinking, caught in a mental loop, fixating on things that, deep down, you know aren't worth your time or energy? Trust me, you're not alone. The human mind often acts like a restless child, full of nervous energy, constantly looking for something new to worry about, analyze, or ponder. What if I told you that the Stoics, those ancient thinkers in their serene robes with their calm and wise gazes, hold a timeless key to quieting that inner noise and guiding your mind to focus only on what truly matters? The Stoic approach to life shows us that thinking less doesn't mean thinking superficially. Instead, it means being more selective, filtering out the trivial thoughts and giving attention only to what truly deserves it. Just as you would train a muscle at the gym to grow stronger, you can train your mind to think more effectively and let go of unnecessary mental weight. Imagine living a lighter life, unburdened by constant analysis and self-doubt. The first strategy for clearing your mind is something I like to call the emotional remote control. Have you ever been watching TV and a show you dislike comes on, so without hesitation, you switch the channel? Now why not do the same with your thoughts? Instead of getting stuck in the cycle of worry, self-criticism, or the endless what-if scenarios, change the mental channel. The idea isn't to ignore what's important or to avoid dealing with real issues. It's simply about choosing not to spend hours replaying the same negative mental episodes. Just as we have control over what we watch, we have control over which thoughts we give airtime in our minds. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You may not control every thought that crosses your mind, but you can decide whether or not to linger on it. Another useful technique, which the Stoics referred to as negative visualization, is to mentally prepare yourself for challenges by imagining the worst-case scenario. This doesn't mean being pessimistic. Rather, it's a way to build resilience and ease anxiety. Think about it like preparing for a storm. If there's a chance of rain, you don't spend your whole day worrying about it. Instead, you grab an umbrella and you're ready. Visualizing potential outcomes grounds you, giving you the strength to handle whatever comes your way without being overtaken by fear or doubt. Once you've visualized and prepared for the worst, let it go. This exercise isn't meant to make you dwell on negative outcomes, but to empower you to face them with confidence. Simplifying your mental load is another powerful tool. Imagine your mind as a suitcase for a long journey. If you overpack, every step becomes a struggle, weighed down by items you don't even need. We often overload our minds with trivial worries and distractions, making our journey through life heavier and harder than it needs to be. So, think about the essentials in your mind. Are there worries, regrets, or fears that you're carrying that don't serve you? When you learn to focus on what's truly important, you'll feel lighter, more agile, and more capable of facing whatever life throws your way. Seneca put it best when he said, "If a person doesn't know to which port they sail, no wind is favorable." Knowing what matters and focusing on that goal gives you purpose and clarity, reducing unnecessary stress along the way. And then there's the power of silence. Not just the silence of your surroundings, but the silence within. A quieting of that endless mental chatter. Take a few moments each day to simply be, without overanalyzing how you feel, why you feel that way, or what you should do about it. This inner stillness isn't about meditating or trying to think of nothing. It's simply about accepting the present without needing to label or judge it. As the Stoics taught, living in accordance with nature means embracing what is, just as it is, without burdening yourself with added layers of unnecessary thought. This practice of mindful silence may seem trivial, but in those moments, you give your mind a chance to breathe, to clear itself of noise and distraction, and to connect with a deeper sense of peace. At the end of the day, the Stoic path to mental clarity is all about learning to reduce mental clutter, focusing less on the quantity of thoughts and more on the quality. By filtering out what's unimportant, you make room for thoughts that actually serve you. True mental detox isn't about filling your life with more activities or distractions. It's about removing the mental noise that weighs you down. When you train your mind to zero in on what matters, you create a mental space that's clearer, more resilient, and better equipped to navigate life's challenges. After all, as Epictetus wisely put it, the key is not to have less worries, but to be more selective about the ones you choose to attend to. If you agree that not every thought deserves your attention, drop a comment saying, "Choose peace." Let's make this a reminder for all of us. 4. Make 3 decisions a day. Have you ever felt like your mind is a chaotic buffet, overloaded with options and distractions that seem endless? It's as if each day brings an endless stream of choices, each one pulling your focus, stretching your energy, and sometimes leaving you feeling more overwhelmed than empowered. In our busy lives, decision fatigue becomes an invisible weight, especially when we're constantly facing decisions, big and small, from the moment we wake up to the second we fall asleep. But here's a refreshing truth rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom. You don't have to tackle every single decision to have a fulfilling day. Imagine simplifying your life down to just 3 intentional decisions each day, creating clarity and lightening your mental load. Less stress, more focus, and the simplicity of choosing what truly matters. This isn't magic. It's philosophy at its best, and it's something we can all apply. When you take just 3 purposeful steps each day, you'll start to feel a new sense of control and peace, one that has real, lasting impact. The first decision is to limit the unnecessary. Have you ever found yourself caught in front of the fridge, staring at all the food choices but feeling more paralyzed than empowered? Or maybe you stand in front of your closet, contemplating dozens of outfit combinations, until you feel exhausted by the sheer abundance of options. These seemingly small decisions can actually drain your mental energy if they're repeated enough. So here's an idea. Create routines to eliminate those trivial choices entirely. For example, You might decide on a go-to breakfast for each day of the week or even choose your outfit the night before. You'd be surprised how much lighter your mind feels when it's freed from these constant, low-stakes decisions. Stoic thinkers knew that true serenity comes from simplicity. Seneca observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you remove unnecessary mental clutter, your mind feels clearer, your spirit feels lighter, and you find a sense of ease that becomes truly empowering. Look at the people in your life who seem calm and grounded. You'll likely notice they don't complicate things with unneeded choices, and that simplicity becomes the source of their peace. The second decision you'll want to make is to focus your energy. Picture your mind as a flashlight. If you try to shine it in every direction at once, the light is spread too thin to illuminate anything properly. But if you focus it on just one point, the light becomes powerful and effective. So each day, choose one thing to focus on and let the rest fade into the background. That means deciding not only what you'll give your attention to, but also what you'll leave out. Ask yourself, what can I let go of today? This isn't about being lazy, it's about efficiency. You don't have to solve every problem at once, nor do you need to think through every possible scenario for every action you take. Imagine each day as a container that only has so much room for focus. If you try to fill it with everything, nothing meaningful will actually fit. Instead, choose one priority, something important, something that adds value to your day, and dedicate yourself to it fully. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. We often create our own stress by magnifying the number of things we believe we must manage at once. Narrow your focus and watch how much clearer your mind becomes. By training yourself to focus on what really counts, you'll experience a powerful reduction in mental noise. Finally, make it a point each day to prioritize mental rest. Now, this isn't about a nap or simply taking a break. It's about giving yourself permission to pause and allow your mind a true moment of quiet. Think of it like closing the shutters in a noisy room. Even if chaos continues outside, that small bit of silence gives you space to breathe and regroup. This doesn't require hours of meditation or complete silence. It can be as simple as practicing deep breathing, gazing out a window, or taking a short walk without distractions. The Stoics believed deeply in building an internal calm. They knew that while we may not control life's chaos, we can learn to find peace within ourselves. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus wisely said, when we choose mental rest, we're choosing to be the calm in the storm, no longer allowing every external stressor to shake us. Give yourself these small moments of rest, and you'll start noticing how much easier it becomes to handle life's challenges. Like clearing static from a radio, you allow your mind to process clearly and effectively, bringing forth solutions and a renewed sense of strength. In the end, the essence of Stoic wisdom is that less truly is more. The clearer we can make our minds, the easier it becomes to handle whatever life throws our way. Imagine removing the constant chatter of small decisions, focusing your energy on one meaningful task and allowing your mind the gift of true rest. Each of these decisions may sound simple, but their impact is profound. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true freedom doesn't come from endless choices, but from knowing when to say enough. Simplifying doesn't make you less capable. It makes you more efficient and ultimately more fulfilled. As the saying goes, you cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Each day, choose your focus, release what doesn't serve you, and create space for clarity and peace. When you simplify your daily choices, focus on what matters, and give your mind time to rest, you'll begin to see the power of a calm, clear, and purposeful life. 5. Filter your thoughts. Think about how often you throw out the trash at home. It's a regular routine, right? You don't leave old leftovers or crumpled paper piling up in the kitchen, because it would clutter your space, affect your mood, and eventually even your health. Well, your mind works in the exact same way. It also accumulates junk, needless worries, useless comparisons, lingering regrets, and anxious thoughts that weigh you down, even when you don't realize it. Just like you wouldn't let garbage pile up in your home, you shouldn't let mental clutter build up in your head. Our minds absorb so much throughout the day. Social media updates, opinions from others, world news, passing remarks. And without a filter, it quickly turns into mental clutter, affecting your focus, your mood, and your energy in a big way. The difference is, unlike physical trash, mental clutter isn't as obvious. It quietly takes up space in the background like an app running silently, draining your energy and crowding out your peace of mind. So, how can you start filtering what stays and what gets tossed? It might feel like we don't have control over what we think, but actually we do. Think of your mind like a radio. You can't control every single song that plays in the world, but you can tune into the station that plays what you want to hear. In the same way, you can choose which thoughts to focus on and which to let go. The Stoics were masters of this. They encouraged focusing only on what you can control, and one of the few things truly under our control is how we respond to our thoughts. When you notice yourself caught in a loop over something you can't change or influence, try to visualize that thought as a piece of useless scrap, empty, rusty, and without purpose. And then, throw it out. Or even better, repurpose it into something useful. For instance, if you're anxious about a future event, shift your focus to what you can do now to prepare, instead of endlessly worrying about what might happen. Take time every day to disconnect and clear out the mental noise. This doesn't mean you need to give up social media forever, though a break can be refreshing, but try setting boundaries. 20 minutes of news is usually enough to stay informed, without overwhelming yourself with every headline. If you often find yourself stressing about the future, bring your attention back to the present moment. One simple but powerful trick is to ask yourself, what can I do right now, in this moment? Taking action on something concrete, no matter how small, can snap you out of the cycle of what-ifs and anticipatory stress that leaves you feeling drained and paralyzed. Much like tossing out the physical garbage at home, start clearing out your mind's clutter. This practice won't just help you feel lighter, but it'll create space for thoughts and ideas that genuinely matter. Free yourself from constantly recycling old worries and instead, focus on thoughts that contribute something valuable. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If we treat our minds as valuable spaces, filling them with thoughts that nourish and uplift us rather than ones that drain us, we'll live with a greater sense of peace and purpose. Consider this. Just like a clean, well-organized room gives you clarity and comfort, a mind free of useless thoughts allows you to function at your best. A cluttered mind is heavy, restless, and easily distracted, but a clean mind is open, calm, and focused on what truly matters. So, as you go through your day, make it a point to filter out thoughts that don't serve you, to question whether a worry is worth holding on to, and to prioritize the mental space you deserve. Embrace this Stoic wisdom. Clear out what doesn't serve you. Make room for what does, and watch how your peace and productivity start to grow. Just remember, your mind is like a valuable space. Keep it clean, fill it with what matters, and enjoy the mental freedom it brings. 6. Less networks, more reality. Let's get real for a second. How often do you find yourself in a trance, endlessly scrolling through your phone, telling yourself, just one more post, or, let's see what else is out there, only to look up and realize an hour or more has slipped by? Social media has a way of drawing us in, keeping us hooked with small bursts of entertainment, giving us something to laugh at, argue with, or ponder over. But what's the trade-off? Each scroll, every swipe, may feel harmless or even satisfying, but over time, it fills our minds with layers of mental clutter, keeping us from the clarity and focus we need. Like eating a bag of chips one small bite at a time, we don't realize we're full until it's too late, and suddenly we're left feeling overwhelmed and, ironically, more empty than before. By constantly absorbing an endless stream of memes, News alerts, opinions, and photos. Our mental space becomes crowded with noise, leaving little room for anything truly meaningful. The Stoics would remind us that lasting peace and clarity aren't found by filling every moment with distractions, but by learning to filter what truly deserves our attention. We often don't realize the depth of what we're giving up when we get caught in this digital web. It's not just time that's lost, it's our ability to disconnect, reflect, and truly experience our lives. Every ping, notification, or quick scroll provides a hit of dopamine, momentarily pleasing but ultimately leaving us wanting more, just like an empty calorie snack that satisfies briefly but doesn't nourish. And it's easy to fall into the habit, waking up to check notifications, scrolling through breakfast, glancing at our screens during lunch, and ending the day with our phone as the last thing we see before bed. Isn't it strange that a device has so much power over our day, controlling when we're on and when we're off? We start the day in autopilot mode, hooked from the moment we wake up, and this constant immersion in digital noise keeps us from engaging with our own lives. Imagine breaking free from this routine, even just a little, finding a sense of calm and mental freedom without going completely offline. This doesn't mean you have to move to a mountain cabin, although sometimes that's tempting. But think about setting small limits on digital time, a few minutes here and there to simply step back and pause. These moments, like small oases in a desert of constant stimulation, can help you reset and reconnect with your own mind, providing you with fresh clarity and perspective. One simple yet powerful strategy is to create a limit on social media, much like setting out a few treats rather than finishing an entire pack in one go. It's all too easy to lose track of time online, but when you consciously decide how much time you'll spend, you regain control over your day. The Stoics, masters of moderation, believed strongly in setting limits and practicing self-restraint. They knew that having boundaries is the foundation of peace, not a restriction of freedom. By being mindful of the time you spend online, you're reclaiming your time for yourself. You'll notice the power you gain over your day simply by saying, "Enough." And if the idea of silence makes you uncomfortable, remember this: silence isn't just an absence of noise. It's a chance to confront what lies within. Sometimes, we're not afraid of quiet or boredom, but of what may arise when there's nothing left to distract us. Yet that's exactly what our minds need to truly clear out mental clutter. When you step away from constant stimulation, giving yourself permission to just be, you begin to see things with new clarity. It's like a fog lifting, making room for genuine insights and peaceful focus. Take a moment to pause, let thoughts flow without interruption, and see how freeing it feels to embrace the quiet. Try a simple practice. Go for a walk without your phone. Yes, it may feel strange, but without the need to capture every moment or reply to every message, the world seems to open up in vivid detail, and suddenly you're present. That's the kind of moment when we truly reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. Social media and digital devices are designed to capture our attention, and they do it well. But this doesn't mean we have to hand over our lives to a screen. The Stoics would encourage us to remain the masters of our own minds, reminding us that true peace doesn't come from eliminating every distraction, but from developing the strength to choose what deserves our focus. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, taught that to be everywhere is to be nowhere, a reminder that if we are constantly caught in the lives, images, and stories of others, we lose sight of our own lives. So here's the challenge. Take back your focus, one moment at a time. Instead of allowing a screen to dictate your mood and attention, choose to be present, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Life is richer, fuller, and more meaningful when we're fully in it. Real peace doesn't come from turning off a device. It comes from the awareness and ability to be here now, engaged with the world that exists beyond the screen. 7. Breathe and reset. Have you ever noticed that in the midst of a storm of thoughts, when you're juggling worries, rethinking decisions, or replaying events, the last thing you remember to do is actually breathe? It seems strange, but in these moments of intense mental noise, we often forget one of the simplest, most powerful tools we have: our breath. When our minds are racing, overwhelmed by thoughts that loop and repeat, something as basic as breathing deeply can feel almost too simple to be effective. But there's a reason the Stoics, known for their ability to find calm in chaos, relied on controlled breathing to maintain focus and peace. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And indeed, when the mind spirals, we often drown ourselves in our own thoughts, losing touch with reality. But when we breathe consciously, we ground ourselves, hitting pause on the mental noise. Think of your mind as a computer. You know that feeling when a computer starts to lag after being used too long without a break? It heats up, glitches, and eventually freezes. The solution? You shut it down, let it cool, and restart. Our minds, in a sense, are the same. When overworked, they overheat and become cluttered with excess worries, anxieties, and doubts. Deep breathing is our own reset button, an opportunity to restart, recharge, and regain control. But here's the key. When we're stressed or deep in thought, our breath shifts into autopilot, becoming shallow and rapid. To regain control, we need to shift our focus back to our breath, taking long, deep breaths to reset our internal rhythm. Marcus Aurelius, a master of inner calm, taught that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When you breathe consciously, you take control of that color, infusing it with calm, grounding your mind, and creating space for clarity. Breathing isn't just about relaxation. It's a reset for the mind, a way to hit pause and let go of thoughts that don't serve you. A practical breathing technique can work wonders in shifting your mental state. Try this. Inhale deeply for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale slowly for another count of 4. This technique may sound simple, but it does something profound. It slows down the rhythm of your thoughts. It's as if you're telling your mind, "It's okay to pause, everything can wait." The effect? Your mind begins to settle, and the endless loop of thoughts loses its grip. The Stoics might describe this as opening a mental window, allowing the stale, foggy air of overthinking to escape, and inviting a sense of clarity and calm in. Imagine each exhale releasing the weight of unhelpful thoughts, and each inhale bringing in fresh air, allowing you to see things with a clear mind. Start your day with 3 intentional breaths, filling your lungs deeply, and then exhaling slowly, releasing any tension or worry that could creep into your day. Do this as part of your morning routine before you dive into the demands of your day. It's like giving your mind a reset before it even has a chance to get cluttered. Then, whenever you face a stressful moment, a big task, an important conversation, or just the rush of daily life, come back to your breath. Even just 1 or 2 deep breaths can create a powerful pause that reconnects you with your center. This intentional breathing isn't a magical cure, but it's a consistent way to reset, to regain control, and to calm yourself when life feels overwhelming. Breathing deeply is one of the few things in life that's entirely free, requires no equipment, and is available to us anytime, anywhere. And yet, it's one of the most powerful ways to ground ourselves, to bring our minds back from the brink of stress, and to refocus on what truly matters. As we become more connected to our breath, we start to find moments of quiet in the middle of chaos, giving us a mental pause button when everything around us seems to demand our attention. Instead of being ruled by the rush, we can control our reactions, finding peace by simply taking in a deep breath. When you feel like you're drowning in your own thoughts, take a moment to pause and breathe. Remember, breathing isn't just about surviving, it's about reclaiming the peace and calm that's always available within you. As Mario Alonso Puig, a renowned speaker, wisely said, "He who controls his breath controls his mind." Each breath is an opportunity to regain that control, to step back from the mental noise, and to refocus on what truly matters. So take that breath, let go of what weighs you down, and rediscover the freedom that comes from a calm, centered mind. 8. Choose your battles. It's amazing how often we let small, unimportant issues consume us, turning them into monumental battles that drain our energy and peace of mind. Think back to a recent moment when you got caught up in something trivial. Maybe a coworker didn't say hello, a family member forgot a minor detail, or your neighbor played loud music early on the weekend. It's almost as if our minds love creating drama out of minor annoyances, blowing up small incidents until they feel as serious as the Trojan War. But here's an important truth we don't always acknowledge. Not every issue is worth our energy, and not every slight deserves a response. Imagine your energy as a glass of water. Each drop represents your ability to think, feel, and act throughout the day. Where would you rather pour that energy? Into nurturing something meaningful, like your relationships, dreams, or well-being, or into tackling small annoyances that don't actually impact your life in a meaningful way? Learning to choose your battles isn't just helpful, it's essential for a peaceful and fulfilling life. It's about understanding that your mental energy is a limited resource and that if you spend it on every little irritation, you'll have nothing left for what truly matters. It's like trying to juggle 10 balls at once. Sooner or later, you're bound to drop one. The Stoics understood this concept deeply. They taught that while we can't control every event or annoyance that crosses our path, we can control how we react to it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Applying this wisdom means making deliberate choices about where we invest our energy. A powerful way to decide if something is worth your energy is to ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or even a year? If the answer is no, then you have your answer. Let it go. Release it, just as you would release a balloon that no longer serves a purpose. And each time you practice letting go, you strengthen your ability to see what's truly important and to dismiss what isn't. Visualize your mind as a closet packed with old, unnecessary items that only clutter your life. By clearing out these mental junk drawers, you create room for the things that truly enrich you, your passions, values, and the people you care about. Reducing the number of battles you engage in is, at its core, a method of mental detox, a way of making space for clarity, focus, and peace of mind. Sometimes the greatest wisdom lies in choosing not to fight at all. In fact, choosing not to engage can be a powerful way to maintain your inner peace. Not every minor grievance requires a drawn-out argument, nor should every irritation cost you a night's sleep. There is true wisdom and strength in selecting your battles, choosing which issues deserve your attention and which are better left unaddressed. As you become more selective with your energy, focusing on what genuinely matters, you'll begin to notice a deep sense of calm and mental freedom. Life, after all, isn't about engaging in every fight that comes your way. It's about recognizing which conflicts are worth addressing and which are simply distractions. As Seneca put it, the greatest wisdom is knowing when not to act. Remember, life doesn't require you to respond to every annoyance or fix every problem. By letting go of the battles that don't truly serve you, you gain mental clarity and energy, freeing yourself to focus on what genuinely brings joy and meaning. This choice, to let go and conserve your strength, isn't a sign of weakness or indifference. It's a mark of true inner strength and wisdom. It means choosing a path that values peace over conflict, growth over pettiness, and purpose over distraction. So ask yourself, is this battle worth it? Is this worth a drop of my limited energy? By making this choice day by day, you will create a life that feels lighter, more meaningful, and filled with the peace that comes from knowing your mind is focused on what truly matters. 9. Do less to achieve more. In our fast-paced world, we're constantly told that doing more is the way to succeed. Multitasking is hailed as a superpower, a skill to master. We juggle emails while attending meetings, scroll through social media in every idle moment, and catch up on TV shows while cooking dinner. It's as if our productivity is measured by how many things we can handle at once. But here's the truth. Multitasking is more myth than magic. Rather than making us more efficient, it leaves us unfocused and exhausted, bouncing from one task to the next without fully completing any. It's like trying to listen to 3 songs at once. You might catch a bit of each, but the experience is chaotic, and you don't truly enjoy or understand any of them. The real key to achieving more, oddly enough, is often doing less. It's about choosing one thing, doing it well, and finding satisfaction in that single focus. Because when we try to do too much at once, the quality suffers and the stress builds. The Stoics understood this ancient trap and valued focus and simplicity over constant busyness. They taught the power of giving one's full attention to the moment at hand, fully committing to each task rather than spreading energy thinly across multiple distractions. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled as a Roman emperor and still found time to write his meditations, did so by fully dedicating himself to each activity without letting his focus stray. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, he advised, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. Imagine, then, what it feels like to invest all your energy in a single task. No distractions, no back and forth, just deep, immersive focus. When you're all in, your mind is clearer, and your stress levels decrease naturally. This doesn't just make you more productive, it brings a profound sense of satisfaction, a feeling of truly connecting with what you're doing. It starts with a simple change: do one thing at a time. Think about how often you have multiple tabs open on your computer, just in case. Or how often you pick up your phone during a task thinking it'll just be a quick check. Each of these actions divides your attention, draining energy and building stress. Try something different. When you sit down to work, close out everything that isn't relevant. Focus on that one task, that one page in front of you. Doing this not only improves your productivity, but also quiets your mind. It's like listening to a single piece of music without interruption. Each note resonates, the rhythm flows, and you're fully present. Just like savoring a single song, focusing on one task allows you to experience it more deeply. And with each moment of focus, you'll notice that your day feels less overwhelming and more purposeful. Clearing physical clutter is also a powerful step towards mental clarity. Take a look at your workspace. If your desk is buried under piles of papers, empty coffee cups, and sticky notes, it's not just your physical space that's crowded, your mind feels cluttered too. Each item on your desk competes for your attention, whether you realize it or not, making it harder to concentrate and adding a layer of stress. When you clear away the clutter, keeping only the essentials, you create an environment that invites focus and calm. The Stoics were big believers in simplicity, seeing it as a path to inner peace. By physically decluttering, you're symbolically doing the same for your mind. And just as important, try to reduce the digital noise that constantly surrounds us. Each notification, whether it's a message, an email, or a social media alert, is a small thief of your focus. Turn off non-essential notifications so they're not constantly pulling you away from the present moment. You don't need to know everything the second it happens, and if it's truly urgent, you'll find out soon enough. By quieting these distractions, you reclaim a rare but powerful focus that's deeply fulfilling in today's hyper-connected world. And then there's the power of rest, something our nonstop culture tends to undervalue. We're often conditioned to think that the busier we are, the more productive and valuable we become. But some of the best ideas and clearest insights come not from constant activity, but from allowing the mind to relax. Give yourself permission to pause, even if it's just for a few minutes, and let your mind wander freely. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wisely said, "The mind should be allowed some relaxation, that it may return to its work all the better for the rest." In those moments of quiet, your mind gets the chance to process, reorganize, and even come up with creative solutions. Sometimes stepping back is the most productive thing you can do. When you give yourself these brief moments of peace, you'll find that your thoughts become clearer, your focus sharper, and your energy renewed. Here's the paradox of multitasking. In trying to do everything at once, you end up accomplishing very little. Real productivity and real peace come from doing less, but doing it better. By simplifying your tasks, focusing on one thing at a time, clearing away distractions and embracing moments of rest, you'll find that you're not only more effective, but also more fulfilled. The Stoics taught us that a life of simplicity leads to inner peace. And as you grow older, you'll begin to see that clarity doesn't come from packing every moment with activity, but from the wisdom of doing less, with greater purpose and presence. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, consider the value of doing less, of focusing on what truly matters, and of finding strength in stillness. When you embrace this mindset, life feels lighter, more meaningful, and genuinely satisfying. Ready to create space for what truly matters? Comment below with, "Let it go," if you're choosing clarity over clutter. 10. Your mind is not a warehouse. When your mind is not a storage unit where every thought, worry, and what if piles up endlessly, think of it this way. When you overfill a storage room with clutter, things get out of control. The room becomes chaotic, unusable, and impossible to navigate. The same thing happens with your mind when you let every thought, each worry, and every minor concern stay without clearing them out. It's as though each thought decides to move in without paying rent, taking up valuable space. The reality is, just like a good container, your mind needs regular clearing. But how many of us actually know how to do this? Most of us go through our days adding more and more to our mental load until, at the end of the night, our heads feel ready to explode. We lie there thinking of that email we forgot to send, wondering if we left the lights on, or puzzling over why someone didn't respond to a message. It's a mental hamster wheel, a loop of endless thoughts that keeps spinning night after night. The truth is, to achieve true mental clarity, you need to practice regularly emptying this mental container of yours. This isn't magic. The Stoics understood this concept long ago. They recognized that not every thought deserves space in our minds. The essence of Stoic philosophy is that, while we can't control every event or thought, we can control how we respond to them. Think about how much lighter your mind could feel if you released what doesn't serve you. Before you go to sleep each night, take a moment to sweep out the mental cobwebs. One simple, effective technique is the mind dump. Take out a sheet of paper or open a note on your phone and jot down everything that's on your mind. Don't worry about organizing it or making sense of it. Just get it all out as if you're unloading a cart of groceries you didn't actually need. Write quickly without overthinking, and let each thought flow freely. This exercise is like emptying a storage unit of things you don't need so you're not carrying unnecessary weight. Another approach is visualization. Close your eyes and imagine each thought as a cloud drifting across the sky. Don't hold on to them. Don't analyze them. Simply watch them pass by, acknowledging them without attachment. Not every thought has to stay, just as not every cloud brings rain. By practicing this, you begin to understand that some thoughts are just passing by. They don't need to become permanent fixtures in your mind. The key is remembering that true rest begins not when the clock says it's bedtime, but when your mind is at peace. By practicing a nightly mental cleanse, you're teaching your brain to let go of what's unimportant. This habit will allow you to fall asleep with a clearer head, free from the mental baggage that would otherwise weigh you down. Your mind isn't meant to be a cluttered storage unit, and treating it as one only leads to stress and mental exhaustion. What you need is a space where peace, not worries, can be your companion as you drift off to sleep. As my grandfather used to say, what you don't release will weigh you down. What you don't clear will suffocate you. So tonight, try letting go of the things that don't need a place in your mind. Remember, you don't have to answer every thought, nor do you need to hold on to every concern. Give yourself the mental space you deserve and allow your mind to truly rest. If you've connected with this message, write in the comments below. Not everything needs a response. I'm eager to hear about your successes with these practices, and don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and let YouTube know you're finding value in this content. Every bit of your support motivates us to keep creating valuable content like this. And before you go, Check out our last 2 videos for more practical wisdom to bring peace to your daily life. Thank you for your time and support, and I look forward to sharing more insights with you in our next adventure. Thank you for being part of this journey with Stoic in your life. As we uncovered 10 powerful ways to clear your mind and break free from overthinking, guided by Stoic wisdom. If these strategies resonated with you, and you're ready to embrace a life of greater peace and purpose, give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who could benefit, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell too, so you'll always know when new insights are waiting for you. Here's to a clearer, calmer mind. See you in the next video. Habits to be 1% better every day. Stoicism. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Epictetus. Today, we dive into a concept that holds incredible power. Becoming 1% better every single day. For those who are on a journey of self-improvement and seek to integrate Stoic principles into their lives, this video is for you. We'll be exploring practical Stoic habits that can help you make small, consistent improvements, leading to remarkable change over time. Welcome to Stoic in your life. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, offers timeless wisdom on how to navigate the ups and downs of daily life. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot, we can find clarity, peace, and a sense of purpose. But why aim to be 1% better each day? The magic lies in the power of small, consistent habits. These tiny improvements, when accumulated over time, can transform our lives. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Instead, focus on steady, manageable actions that, over time, add up to substantial growth. Imagine just a 1% improvement each day. By the end of the year, you'll be far ahead of where you started. In today's video, I'll guide you through Stoic habits that not only align with ancient wisdom but are also supported by modern science. Each of these habits is designed to help you improve, little by little, every day. Let's get started. Habit 1. Practice temperance. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. This simple truth from Stoicism sheds light on why the practice of temperance, or self-control, is so vital in our lives. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get swept up in the pursuit of excess, whether it's through indulging in material goods, seeking constant pleasure, or being driven by our impulses. Temperance, however, teaches us to step back, evaluate, and choose a path of moderation that allows us to focus on what truly matters, without the distractions that can lead us astray. Practice temperance. It's about finding balance, about having the discipline to say no when everything around you urges you to say yes. This is not just about resisting temptations, but understanding why we need to do so. The modern world constantly encourages us to consume more, do more, and seek more. It feeds off our desires, often making it seem like the more we acquire or achieve, the happier we'll be. But Stoicism challenges this notion by reminding us that our true power lies in self-mastery. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is a reminder that self-control and restraint are the keys to freedom, not the endless pursuit of external rewards. For men aged 30 to 65, especially those in the prime of their careers and family lives, the pressure to succeed, provide, and excel can be immense. Yet temperance teaches that restraint is not a weakness, but a strength. It's about controlling your reactions, your desires, and your impulses so that you can channel your energy into what truly matters: your health, your relationships, and your personal growth. Think about how often stress leads you to make impulsive decisions, whether it's overeating, overworking, or overspending. Each of these habits can spiral into something much bigger, stealing away your peace of mind and health. Practicing temperance, on the other hand, allows you to make conscious choices that reflect your values rather than succumbing to fleeting desires. It's essential to understand that temperance doesn't mean deprivation. Rather, it's about striking a balance, enjoying pleasures without being enslaved by them. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, understood this deeply. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant was that we should not be ruled by external things or allow them to control us. By practicing temperance, we take control of our own minds, making deliberate choices that align with our long-term well-being rather than short-term gratification. Now let's relate this to modern life. Imagine a scenario where you come home from a stressful day at work. Your first instinct might be to unwind with a few drinks or a binge-watching session. While this may provide temporary relief, it doesn't address the root cause of your stress. Instead, consider how you could approach this situation with temperance. Perhaps you could take a walk, spend time with your family, or practice meditation. Each of these actions, while simple, represents a conscious choice to manage your stress in a healthier way. Over time, these small, controlled actions add up, leading to a more balanced, fulfilling life. The beauty of temperance is that it empowers you to set boundaries for yourself. It's the discipline to eat moderately when everyone else is overindulging, the restraint to spend wisely when others are caught in a cycle of unnecessary spending, and the strength to pause and think before reacting impulsively. Aristotle once said, "I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self." By controlling your desires, you are not limiting your life. You are actually enhancing it by ensuring that your actions are deliberate and meaningful. For instance, in today's digital age, one of the biggest challenges is the constant influx of information. Social media, news updates, and endless notifications can overwhelm us, making it difficult to focus on what's truly important. Practicing temperance here means setting limits on screen time, choosing to disconnect from the digital world when it becomes a distraction, and focusing on activities that enrich your mind and body. This might mean reading a book, engaging in a hobby, or having a meaningful conversation with a loved one. Each of these acts is a reflection of self-control, a deliberate decision to invest in what brings real value to your life. Moreover, temperance extends beyond personal habits. It's also about maintaining balance in relationships. For men who are balancing careers, family, and personal ambitions, the ability to practice temperance means not letting one aspect of life overshadow the others. It's the skill to give attention to your work without neglecting your family, and to pursue your passions without letting them dominate your life, to the detriment of your well-being. Cicero, another great thinker, said, "Moderation in all things." By applying this principle, you learn to give each part of your life the attention it deserves, without allowing any single area to consume you completely. The real challenge, and perhaps the most rewarding aspect of temperance, is learning to apply it consistently. It's easy to make a promise to yourself to cut back on unnecessary expenses, to eat healthier, or to be more present in the moment, but it's much harder to follow through every single day. This is where the Stoic concept of continuous improvement comes in. Even if you can't master temperance overnight, you can start by being 1% better each day. Recognize your triggers, understand where you tend to lose control, and slowly work on them. This way, you are not just aiming to be better, but you are also cultivating a habit of self-awareness and resilience. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where you are tempted to act impulsively, pause for a moment. Remind yourself of the Stoic wisdom that has endured for centuries. "He who is not a good servant will not be a good master," said Plato. In the context of temperance, this means that if you cannot control your desires, you will be ruled by them. Take charge, make deliberate choices, and let each decision reflect the man you aspire to be. The practice of temperance, while challenging, is ultimately liberating. It frees you from the shackles of impulsive behavior, allowing you to live with intention, purpose, and clarity. Habit 2. Managing emotions. Managing emotions is one of the most crucial habits to cultivate, especially if you aim to improve yourself by just 1% every day. Emotions are a fundamental part of being human, but when left unchecked, they can be powerful forces that derail your progress, cloud your judgment, and lead to decisions you might regret. Think about the last time you got really angry. Did you say something you wish you could take back? Did your frustration cause you to act impulsively, making a situation worse instead of better? Now consider the wisdom of the Stoics, who understood that our emotions, when left uncontrolled, could be our worst enemies. As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." This simple truth captures the essence of managing emotions. Life will throw challenges